All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's a room full of powerful women. You feel it? Like, heck yeah. All right. So here's what tonight is about. The Fountain of Youth is what it's titled, right? And there's more to it than just that. Because how old is old? We can all put an age on how old you were when you actually felt old. Has anyone felt they're like, I haven't felt old yet? Hopefully, you younger ones, yeah, I'm not old yet, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about, in your head quietly, 5 people that are most important to you. You got your 5 people? Really think about them. You have a piece of paper in front of you. You can write down their names. It might be easier if you're more of a visual person. And with those 5 people, I want you to rank them or compare them to healthiest to least healthiest. I don't need to know who they are.
What if I hadn't seen them for 2 years?
That's okay. I don't care if they've even passed. They don't have to be with us. But I want you to rank the people you love most in order of health. Everyone got your answer or a good idea? Because here's what I want to know. We all have an idea of what health is or looks like. Your idea of health may not be my idea of health. But I want you to raise your hand if you recognize the pattern. How did you decide who was healthiest? Betsy.
I chose my niece Lindsay, who's vegetarian or pescatarian that eats fish, salmon sometimes. So I chose her because I've been vegetarian for 6 years. And so I chose Lindsay as number 1.
So by diet,
in my
by habits.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else? Megan.
Well, I chose my aunt because she's going to be 93. She still works at her church, still drives herself, lives independently.
So by function.
By function. Wow. And age plus function, yeah.
Anyone rank people by size? Or how often they work out? Or what they eat? Or how well they take care of their spine? Or their posture? So how do we define health? It seems to be individualized, and on the board that I just erased, there were 2 words. Does anyone remember what those 2 words were?
Oh, I didn't write it down. Sorry.
Average and normal. What the medical profession does, like you ever go get your labs drawn?
Yeah.
And then they want these numbers to fit into their box.
Yeah.
Right? This box is an average of everyone, and there's good signs. I'm a good fan of this. And we know that your health is unique to you, an individual, and they give us signs on what could be happening. So I'm a big fan of getting your blood panels done at least once a year and having that looked at. And do you want to be just normal and average? No. When it comes to your health, you are a unique individual and being. So when we define health, I really hope, because most Americans do this, they'd say, well, I know I'm healthy because I'm not sick, because I can do everything I'm supposed to do. But by Dorland's Medical Dictionary, health is defined by the balance of optimal physical, social, mental, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the presence or absence of disease or infirmities. So I gave this example. It was another whiteboard moment where it said vomit. Does anyone remember that word on the board? Yeah. Anyone remember why we put it on there? What was the example we gave when we said vomit?
Oh, I remember the answer to this. I don't remember that.
So if you were to go to dinner tonight and 2 hours later you're vomiting, are you healthy or are you sick?
You're healthy. Could be food poisoning and you're getting rid of it.
Your body's trying to get rid of the bad thing. But if we're vomiting that's, say, like the flu, what do we try to do, typically as Americans?
We try to stop throwing up. We try to take medicine sometimes.
We try to treat the symptoms to cover them so that we can keep the bad thing in us longer. Just a thought, right? So I want you to think of health differently, because you're going to be served most by just being able to open up your mind and your heart and your ears in the next 20 minutes, right? So in the next 20 minutes, we're going to learn how to stay younger, how to live longer, and healthier. And these techniques are easy to implement and to maintain, and they can actually increase your life expectancy. Does anyone know the life expectancy right now for an American?
Oh, is it 75, 79?
I don't know. I didn't look it up for this year. I usually have it, but yeah, it's I think it's up to 79 now. Yeah, and females it might be around 82. So or just over across the board, 79 I think is for everyone. So this talk is not the everyone gets a trophy talk, right? Trophies are for those who actually put in the work, and which is why we put paper on every chair. We ask you to engage, to participate, write down notes, ask questions. So feel free to interrupt me at any time if a question pops up. And research shows that the person who engages more, the more likely they are to retain. So Ben Franklin has this quote, "Tell me and I will forget, teach me and I may remember, but involve me and I will learn." And that is why I had you come up with 5 people who are more important to you, to involve you into the thinking process. Because how many of you have ever been given advice, read a book, took a class, listened to a podcast, and thought it was a good idea, but then never implemented it? Or maybe started it, but it never became habit? Anyone?
Yeah.
Good, it's not just me, right? So here's what you need to do is write things down, be engaged in order to implement the things that you know are healthy for you. Because new information or just information without implementation will lead to depression. When we know what's better for us, but we don't choose it, it leads us down a path of guilt. I'm not good enough. I don't make these right decisions, those types of things. And I don't want that for any of you. So, and I'm hopefully that won't be the case for you today either. So my goal is to give you great information and to help you to connect with your why, right? That you actually make a lasting change and that this will add years to your life and life to your years. So I wanted to share a study, and I have them printed out in the back. I highlighted a few things with them. Actually, Dr. Julie, can you grab those 2 studies off the end of my desk? I meant to bring them out here. The longevity study. This was a study done by Harvard over 80 years that measured couples. And who typically lives longer, men or women? Women. Do you know what this study showed? Why women would live longer? Any guesses? Not longer than men necessarily, but what contributed to a woman living longer than other women?
Maybe healthier choices.
Could be.
Maybe sometimes the men take on more stress. I don't know.
Oh, you're getting closer. You're
Okay.
getting closer. This study showed
Uh-huh.
that the happier the husband was,
Oh.
the longer a woman would live.
Oh. The happy.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
That's a little crazy, right?
yeah.
So then I didn't read the study. That's where I learned from the people that actually read the study in the classes that I take too. But I was able to find the Harvard study article in Men's Health Journal. So they did talk about like why men would live longer. So this major survey of 127,545 American adults found that married men are healthier than men who were never married or whose marriages ended in divorce or widowhood. The past 150 years suggests that marriage is good for health. There was also in these little articles that I pulled from Harvard, these little boxes of side information that I'll just actually say a little bit too, are educated wives heartbreakers. So there was a study in the 1980s that showed that men who were married to educated women actually lived less long, or not as old, I should say. However, coming up into 2002 and 2009, in the contemporary world, smart wives promote healthy hearts. Okay, so we think it's more because of habit and what we learn and how we are changing. So I don't think maybe when you look at studies like this type of thing, what kind of healthy habits were we taught in the 1980s, where we were told that eggs were bad, high cholesterol, that type of thing. So looking at what was popular then too. Marriage and the heart. If marriage protects health, the heart would be a likely beneficiary. Japanese scientists reported that never married men were 3 times more likely to die from cardiovascular disease than married men. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. How
So
many percent?
3 times more likely. Scientists evaluated 3,682 adults for over a 10-year period, and even after taking major cardiovascular risk factors such as age, body fat, smoking, blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol into account, married men had a 46% lower rate of death than unmarried men. 46%. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so only 2 men are in here, and so I told you I was going to give you things to implement, and marriage isn't really something you just implement on the same day. Now, is it? So I just found this interesting for when it comes to longevity and how happiness plays a role into that. Where I actually want to take this is longevity, and how do we measure longevity? Because what's happening is, where are the baby boomers heading and the generation right ahead of them? This is the most 100-year-olds, the centenarians, that we've ever had. It is now exponentially growing. Now, how many people here want to make it to live 100? Oh, good. A few more people. A healthy 100. Most people who don't raise their hand is because they picture 100-year-olds being broke, crippled, and alone, right? We don't want that for anyone. So we want to make sure that you don't make it to 100 by accident, okay? So it does take, I'm going to show you a whole pyramid of stuff, but first I want to go into this study that talks about spinal decay. On your day 2, we go over this chart and we show you your x-rays, yes? Everyone remembers this chart?
Yes.
How old should you live and still have this beautiful 40-degree curve?
We should be 100.
120, 125, still going. You know, the next generation that's being born right now is estimated to live to the 140s right now. As a possibility.
140?
It's a possibility. 125 right now. The oldest person alive, I checked in February, so I'm not up to date on stats if she's still alive, is 115, and she lives in Iowa. Isn't that awesome? The oldest person to ever, like the oldest, is 122. Oh, a French woman.
What year was that?
I don't remember, but it was this century. Well, we're in a new early century, so it was within the last 100 years, though. Okay. She outlived her daughter and her grandson.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have this beautiful curve, but then what happens? Traumas, thoughts, toxins. So I was just talking to one patient about stressors. When we talk about stress, what do we mostly think about? I'm like, oh, are you stressed out? Emotional, mental, how we handle things. But stress is also chemical and physical, right? So a lot of this is mostly due to trauma, because most of the time this neck starts to straighten out. What we see is in probably even younger now, but 14 years old. When I graduated chiropractic college 11 years ago, we used to say most people are in phase 1 degeneration by the time they're 26 years old. And now we say 14. And I've even taken pictures on a 7-year-old that is a reverse curve and more like a 2. Yep. So there were certain reasons for that when I don't normally do that. So if we stick to even by the time we're 14, why do you think this number keeps going less and less? What kind of stress? Life can happen. Like, so yeah, the traumas, the thoughts, the toxins, all of those are stressors, but I'm going to put it on one thing. It is posture. How old are we getting cell phones now and looking down at them, or tablets? I mean, my 6 and 7-year-olds have tablets. So here's one of the tasks at home to change for this tablet. So a trauma to change for this habit. If my kid is holding a tablet, my phone, any type of device, or looking down as often as possible, they know to have good posture, because I will take the device away from them. So they must be laying on their stomach to force that neck curve up, or they can sit on the couch with couch pillows stacked up and they're up on top, or they can put their knees up and put it on top, so that we keep our head level and not looking down into our laps. Can you imagine what our necks would look like today if even 10 years ago we started better posture? Posture went wayside. You ever look at pictures of like the 1950s where everyone's standing up nice, tall, straight? Or even actors in movies, they do this, standing up nice, tall, straight. This portrays confidence and everything. And somewhere this became uncool, We want to be laid back. And it is actually detrimental to our health. So posture is everything. Now, if I were to finish this chart, you can see into phase 2, still a straight spine. The disc heights in between each vertebrae have lessened. That's not good. If we don't take care of this, well, does anyone remember, someone's in phase 2, typically how much pain do they have? Something that just comes and goes for 2, 3, 4 days. And if we have pain for just 2, 3, 4 days, what do we typically do for it? Either nothing, might make it to, over-the-counter medication, might make it to a medical doctor who then prescribes muscle relaxers or painkillers. Does that solve the problem?
Phase 2, the second or third picture?
It's the third picture. Yep. And if that doesn't get changed, then it goes to phase 3, where this is definitely a straight spine. The disc heights are almost gone. It's almost bone-on-bone degeneration here. You can't come back from that. That is pinched nerves. That is subluxation and a sick spine on the inside.
It's 3 or 4?
It's phase 3, picture 4.
And
right?
You can't really recover from that.
Not really. So arthritis here, all this degeneration is AKA arthritis.
Oh.
Okay? It's the same thing. So if we say, hey, you have degeneration, you have disc degeneration, all of that is other fancy words for arthritis. Spondylosis, for set arthrosis, all forms of arthritis. Okay? So I bring this all up because bringing back the neck curve, how important is that? So if you have that piece of paper in front of you, I want everyone to draw a circle at the top of their page. This is going to represent a cell, the things that make up your body. And then if I draw a squiggly X like this, does anyone know what that is?
Cell DNA?
DNA, chromosomes, right? At the end of every chromosome is like a shoelace. So you can draw your little shoelaces on here. These shoelaces are called telomeres.
Telomeres in the end.
T-E-L-O-M-E-R-E-S. Telomeres. Every time a cell divides, these telomeres kind of wick off the end. And when the telomere is no longer able to divide and it's just gone, cell death occurs. You can no longer make new cells. It's called apoptosis. Isn't that a fun word? So what they found in this other study, in 2018, they've repeated this 2 more times because I know the author of the study, at least 2 more times. I haven't talked to him in 2 years. What they did is they took a woman, 36 years old, and she had a straight spine. And there's all sorts of measurements, tests they did on her. One of the tests was they took a sample of her blood and measured her telomeres. That can tell you your age. There's all sorts of factors and studies out there for telomeres on what causes them to be shorter. So telomere length is associated with metabolic and inflammatory diseases, pulmonary diseases, cardiovascular events and diseases, physiological and stress disorders, neurodegenerative diseases, cancer, chronic and serious illnesses, and mortality. Additionally, telomere length is associated with lifestyle choices such as diet, tobacco and alcohol use, physical activity, and sleep. I just listed all the things you need to work on. Not the diseases part. But when we break this down in what health is, or how we obtain more health in our habits, whether it's mental, physical, social, spiritual, professional, associated with lifestyle choices like diet, tobacco and alcohol use, physical activity, and sleep. Got to add sleep into my triangle later. Remind me of that. So they tested her and they gave her her age, which let me find a number. So these lengths of the telomeres were 73. Telomere value is what they gave it. Okay. Then over the next 5 months, she got 36 adjustments and worked on her curve correction. At the end of the result, they redid, or the testing, they redid her blood draw. And her telomere length increased by 8.23% from 73 to 79. They just added years to your life. So when I'm saying this, like, this is the fountain of youth. And I'd say this adjustment just added years to your life and life to your years. There are studies that actually show this. So every time you're getting adjusted, you're slowing down the progression of degeneration and arthritis and improving your connection between your brain and your body so that you can actually function better. And so the things that we need to do into function. Are we ever done working? No. As long as you have a heartbeat, we're never done. So the things that we want to work on. The foundation for our health. What's the number one thing that we need? I think one more. Anyone want to take a guess? Even if you've been here before, you've seen this before. Oh, you know where I'm going though. How long can you live without your nervous system?
We have to have good sleep.
We do.
Sleep.
I'm going to put this in, but foundational nervous system.
That's how our body has time to recover.
Yep.
And sleep.
Most people will tell me what's the most important thing your body needs? Most people will tell me your blood. Well, we call that the circulatory system. You do need that, but how long can you live without air? 4 to 6 minutes. How long can you live without your nervous system? No. You can hold your breath. You see the deep diver stuff and everything like that? Yeah. So air, but it depends. Like if you're talking about losing blood and cutting yourself and losing all your blood, yeah, it's seconds, right? Because
I thought you said, okay.
All right, everyone with me? What I might have said something that was off.
Well, for nervous system.
Oh, seconds.
That's what
yes.
Yes.
Nervous system. How long can we live without our nervous system?
Seconds. Okay.
Not it's boom,
Yeah.
done, 0 seconds, right? That is our most important thing. It's what controls even our blood system. The air going through our blood system, our breath. So let's also do this. I want everyone to scrunch up really, really tight. And now take a really big, deep breath in this position. And breathe out. Good. Now, everyone put both feet on the floor, sit up nice, tall, straight, knees over ankles, hips and shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. Now take a big, deep breath in. Which one's easier?
It's easier when you have good posture.
Yeah. So now I showed you the extremes. We're not always scrunched up in this position. But how many times are we starting from a young age? I just watched my 6 and 7-year-old get on the bus this morning with backpacks on. We start here, then we're into books. You cannot take a full breath in this position.
Oh, yeah.
And that actually is second and detrimental to your health as well. Then what? Water. How long can we go without water? It depends on if you're eating and what you're eating, but typically 3 to 4 days. Okay. Food.
You said how long on the breath?
It's 4 to 6 minutes. How long can we go without food?
So water, you can go 2 or 3 days?
3 to 4 days on water usually.
4 days.
Yep. Sometimes it depends on the environment you're in. Actually, and now because I read this too, I actually need to put food here. This needs to be sleep. How long can you go without sleep?
Oh, well, I need good sleep. I don't function without sleep. 48, 36 hours?
It's about 72. Yeah, so you can go about 3 days before they drop you off. Wait, 42, 48, 72 hours, where your body will actually just kind of shut down. Insomnia is a slightly different case. There are people that have broken records like that, but it's extremely rare. Health-wise, the normal person, 3 days. Then food. How long can you go without food? Yeah, depending on what kind of water source you got too. It could be fasting. It depends on your body type as well. So about 28 days. And then the last one I like to put up here is exercise. How long can you go without exercise? Your whole life without exercising or ever moving? But when someone says, all right, I'm going to get healthy, what's the first thing they do?
Exercise and
they start walking, gym, they might do a diet, but look at where these rank. These are some of the least important things that your body actually need in order to function. Now, don't get me wrong. everything on this list is extremely important because all of them feed into the base, which is your nervous system. So your nervous system is only as good as the rest of the stuff. But if you're doing the best exercise and the best food and the best sleep and the best water and best posture, and you're still subluxated and you have misaligned vertebrae putting pressure on your nerves, you're still not going to be at the best. Versus starting with getting your nervous system in order. Then making sure you're breathing right so you actually have the energy. And actually you need that oxygen in order to even burn fat. Making sure you're drinking enough water. How much water should we be drinking a day?
3 quarts.
Well, it depends. You can't say what is exactly right for one person, just like that normal and average. However, I do like to put into this equation, it's half your body weight in ounces. So if someone weighs 150 pounds, they should be drinking at least 75 ounces in water per day. Okay. I would love to push for a gallon of water. It's not necessarily that everyone needs that, but especially in this season, we start to get a little bit dehydrated too. So I push myself, I try for a gallon. It's very rare that I make it, depending on busyness. But when you push for more, you at least get to your lower goal.
Just carry a gallon to drink out of?
Actually, I tried that. I tried buying those big things and that had motivational things like drink your effing water and things like that.
Oh.
Like, you got this. And,
Yeah.
and it was just too much of a hassle to carry around. So I had to break it down into like, all right, one of the things that one of our patients did one time is they had their water bottle and they put 8 hair ties on it. Yeah, and every time they finished the bottle, they took a hair tie off.
Yeah.
Right? So a way to mark it. Yeah, Nancy.
I don't know if this sounds it sounds weird, but I'm just wondering if you're overweight, you're still not you're still going to be drinking half your
Yeah.
weight or
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It's a lot, but if it's over a gallon of water a day, maybe not. But yes, that's what your body needs in order to flush things in and out. We talked about water. Where was I? I was going up or down? Any other questions? How often should we exercise? It's actually not daily. Just to maintain your weight now is 3 to 4 times a day, or sorry, 3 to 4 times a week at 30 minutes at a brisk walk, like 4 miles per hour. If you want to lose weight by walking, you need to go 5 to 7 times a week. Food. Now, digress on food because that is going to be into next month's spinal workshop. So next week's spinal workshop, and you guys all get this copy too. Please do not keep it a secret. You guys are the first ones to see the calendar for next year. I love it. You may not be as excited as I am, but you can look at the topics that, go ahead, if you would, please pass that out for me. Or you can just actually take a few and pass them around. This is something to look forward to. Like, this is a community. We don't do well in isolation, right? If COVID has taught us anything, when we separate people, we get more sick. It adds to the mental stress, it adds to the physical stress, it adds to a lot. So please don't keep this to yourself. Make sure that we stay in community, that we're constantly challenging each other to more. And when we talk about challenging each other to more, I wanted to bring up something that a patient did earlier this week is they come in and they say, oh, I feel so much better. And you know what my response to that type of thing is? That's a dangerous sentence because when people start to feel better, it's a dangerous sentence. Can anyone imagine why?
Why? Because you stop doing what you've been doing to feel better because you feel better.
Exactly. So we stop doing when we get the results that we want, we tend to stop. Anyone lose weight and then they stopped and gained it all back? Anyone stopped exercising? Anyone stopped eating right? It's all the same things. When are we ever done? We're never done. So I want you to think you can take all these aspects of your life and apply it to the road to recovery too. So, teach this with chiropractic wise. Most people come into our office because of pain, right? Yeah. 98% of all people walk into our office because of pain. So they're down here in this suffering range. They have a ton of pain. Every dot represents a visit, an adjustment. And so some people kind of take the low road here. It takes more visits. Some people go up immediately, it takes less visits, but eventually they start getting out of pain. They're recovering. And this is when they tell me, all right, I'm feeling good, doc. They have choice to continue their care or to drop care. If they drop care, what do you think happens to the nervous system and their body function?
Goes down.
It starts to go down. And then they come in with the exact same problem 6 months later. And then they start this vigorous thing about 3 times a week, getting back in the office, getting adjusted again, and they get a little bit better. And then they drop care again. And then they come back in and they get adjusted and they drop care again. And it's this roller coaster effect. But what I want you to notice here is that here, and here just keeps going down and down and down. Versus starting to feel better and continuing on. Notice they get their space farther apart. It's maintenance care. And we continue the road to recovery to living our best, healthiest lives. We have one patient that's here. She's been here for over a year now, and she just had her anniversary review where we sit down with every patient after their review and they finish their initial care plan and say, this is where you started, this is how far you come, and this is what's next, right? So her comment in all of this, I go, what did you notice with care? She goes, I've been coming here for over 13 months. And the biggest thing I noticed is my checkbook. I haven't written one check to Walgreens for a prescription in that entire 13 months.
So she was feeling good.
Yeah, so she hasn't been getting sick. And that could be someone else's story as well. And we're not just noticing it, but it happens all the time. So to have stories like that is great. It's the same thing with our exercise. We could start here and then we're on a regular program. We do great. And then we got a goal. We started looking good. It's the best we looked in a while. So then we're like, I'm doing good. And then it drops off again. And then our problems come back. The same thing with our sleep sometimes. Oh, I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to wake up early. And we start doing this on a good habit basis. And then we're like, oh, I've been doing good. Who's partying this weekend? Yeah, and it just takes that one time we get off the wagon, right? And you're like, oh, it was fun, and now we're going to go do something else. I'm going to stay up and binge watch Netflix. And then you're not up early and doing your exercises and the things you need. It's the same thing with our posture. How many of us stick to some type of challenge? Like all on social media, all these challenges are the big rave. Like I even started trying to do 75 hard. I talked about it last month. I didn't make it a single day in doing it. But I did manage to make, it's called 75 Hard, and it's by Andy Frisella, I think his name is. And he's a podcaster, and he's pushing this, and now he's made a book out of it and everything. And so it's 7 things that you do every day for 75 days. And it's quite strenuous. It's drink a gallon of water a day, read 10 pages from a self-help book every day, take a picture of yourself every day, no alcohol, 2 exercises per day, 45 minutes. They cannot be back to back, and one of them needs to be outside. And then you have to pick a diet and stick to it.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't matter what diet. All diets work for someone.
But if
Stick
you
to it.
miss one, you go back.
You
to day
start
one.
all the way over if you miss a day.
What's his name?
Andy Frisella. Yeah. Right, but that's what I said. So here's what I did though. Like, because if you know it's too hard, how are you going to set yourself up for success? So a lot of people, like even curve correction, you heard me talk about that lady's telomeres getting longer. Well, that was over 5 months and 36 visits. Some of you are just starting out, right? That can be overwhelming. But something is better than nothing. So what I did with the 75 Hard, I said, well, what's one of the things I can stick to? And it was no alcohol, the not doing something, right? So maybe it's something simple. So now I'm not doing alcohol, and I'm going to start picking up on my water. And then the next one I'm going to add is 1 45-minute workout a day. Because right now my workouts are 8 minutes just to get something in. Because something is better than nothing. And it adds up over time. In fact, we were at leadership camp. I don't know if I'm going to remember all the numbers here. But Dr. Jen is an amazing chiropractor over in by Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. And she's one of my coaches. And she gave a class on time. And you know, there's 86,400 seconds in a day. And then pull out your phones if you're already on your phones or anything. You guys know about the screen time? That it's tracking everything that you do? Have you looked that up? Do you get the little notifications that says your average screen time has been up 26%?
So
You are for an average of
Google
5
starts
hours and
telling
13
you.
minutes.
So is it in settings, the screen time?
I don't know about Androids, I know about Apple.
Oh,
Yep. So, but it keeps track. And so I looked up my average is 5 hours at this time. So that's another goal I could do, what's less. And how much was it games? How much was it reading? How much was it listening? How much was it actually doing work? And so it tracks all of that for you. And you should go look at that because you might be appalled on something to change, right? I was going somewhere with that. Oh, so we only have so much time. So what if you have this time that you spend on your phone? What if you took just 10 minutes a day to do something better for you on this track? Because 10 minutes a day adds up to, wait, was that the number? Yeah, yes, because just 10 minutes, 6 days a week adds up to an hour a week, adds up to 52 hours a year, and expert status within 27 years, I think it was, that you would be an expert in something. And now that number 27 years could be overwhelming. But when you break it down to only be 10 minutes a day, how much different your life could be. So that's my challenge to you is just to write down the one thing, just one thing that you're taking away from tonight that you want to challenge yourself to more in order to live longer. Now, we might have talked to some of you about curve correction, and make sure, like, if we did not talk to you about curve correction or didn't start it on you and you want to start it, make sure to talk to me or Julie on your next visit. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to think of those 5 people that we started thinking about in the beginning. And I want to know, would you rank them in health the same way you already did? Or would you look at it different now?
very similar to what I put earlier.
So we know
Yeah.
we have the people around us that are doing the right things, but are we doing the right things? And so never go alone. So we talked a little bit about isolation. You will do better and go farther if you have an accountability partner. Don't do it alone. So whatever goal you wrote down, I want you to then write the name of the person you are going to share that with. You can then pick a reward when it's completed, or pick a punishment if it's not completed. Some of us are reward driven, that's the carrot. Some of us are stick driven, that's the punishment. So you have to decide what's in it for you. But why would anyone want better health? What's at stake if we don't feel better and live longer? If we don't have that quality of life, what's at stake? What about life though? Why? Why does my life matter to somebody? It's the connections in life. It's the people before us. How many of us want to live long enough to see our grandkids get married? To be able to be 85 and walk down the beach with someone that we love? To be healthy enough to fly in an airplane still? Or enjoy all the things that life has to offer? And with the people that we love. So sometimes we also have to challenge them, like that wife thing, making our husbands happier so that we can live longer. I heard that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I'm not housewife material. What matters is our connections, right? To be able to live long enough and happy enough that when we do reach 100 years old, our quality of life isn't down the toilet, that our quality of life is healthy, happy, rich, and well-connected. Your health is your greatest wealth. And we're not always treating it like that. So I want you to write down what's at stake. What are you going to miss out if you're broke, crippled, and alone in even just 20 years or 30 years? What's at stake? And I want you to hold on to that. And I hope it motivates you to do the thing that you're challenging yourself to be healthier with. Next month with the food, if you want to challenge yourself to something even more, would be just to start watching what you're eating. I want to share an app with you. It's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. Yeah. I don't know. I just downloaded it, like I downloaded it a month ago, and then I just started using it today for this class to make sure. Does it ever charge you for anything? Say it again.
Bobby approved.
Bobby approved. Okay.
What's it called?
Yuka.
What's the app?
Bobby approved is her other one.
Bobby?
Yeah. B-O-B-B-Y. Yeah.
Bobby.
That's actually helped me a lot in choosing better food.
Yeah. So all it does is you open up the camera on the app and you scan the barcode on the food, and it tells you if it's good or not.
Like my fitness pal, I used to use that. But then
Now it's $80 a year.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to pay $70 or $80 a year.
Right.
I don't have it.
Yuka is free, but like if you want to search, like actually search stuff or like certain things, and that they can charge. But I think Bobby may be a little bit more stricter on this stuff because like Yuka will add like bad seed oils and stuff and say it's okay.
Oh.
Whereas Bobby will disapprove it. So I
Cool.
mean, they're both good apps.
So I like that you brought up seed oils. I hope to put that into next month as well. Yeah.
So Bobby of Youth?
Bobby approved.
Bobby approved.
Bobby approved?
Yeah.
So is it Bobby Flay or somebody? Yeah,
I don't know.
Bobby approved.
I know Yucca will rate it on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yeah.
And anything lower than 50 is bad.
Yeah.
And then it will also give you, thank you, alternatives, like what is better in the same. Yeah.
Some things it doesn't, and it doesn't scan protein drinks or stuff like that. It won't scan those.
Okay, good to know. So you have a list. You have, well, a list of the classes for next year. You have your challenge. You have your accountability partner in mind. Now all that you have to do is decide to do it and how you're going to reward yourself when you get it done. Something really ooey gooey if it's something big. Something easy, get something little smaller. Or what's your punishment if you don't get it done?
I'm losing weight by the end of March, and I get to buy a new bathing suit next spring.
It's a good one. You got it picked out yet?
So I'm release instead of losing weight. Someone was talking about wording and verbiage, so I'm releasing the weight instead of losing it. Because if you lose your phone, you want it back. But I'm releasing the weight.
Perspective changes.
Pounds.
So did you pick out the swimsuit yet?
No.
You should. That's what my next challenge to you would be: is pick out the swimsuit, print out a picture of it, hang it up. Put that in front of you every day to remind yourself and set you up for success even more. Check in with your accountability partner. Send them a text at least weekly, if not daily.
I don't have one yet.
When you say pick out what?
Your reward?
Reward, okay.
Yep. Put a picture of it. Write it down somewhere you're going to look at it all the time. So someone tell me what they're taking away from today. And why? Why? Yeah. But it's the connections that we get to experience, right? No, I like that you went there. Yeah, that's perfect. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We're looking for outside event talks as well. So if you want me to talk with any groups, I'm open to that as well. And don't keep what you learned tonight a secret. This has to be shared. We have to challenge each other to more because too many people are dying in this world for things that are preventable. So thank you for choosing health and taking care of your nervous system and letting us do that. Have a good night.
Yay! Happy Thanksgiving.